ThrashMetalRules.com, and joining me tonight in Austin, Texas, is Schmier, bassist of German thrash metal legends Destruction. How you doing tonight, Schmier?
I'm doing good, man. Cheers. How are you?
Cheers. I'm doing great, thanks.
Yeah, good so far. Like 7 shows so far, rolling good.
So you guys are touring the U.S. with Christian in support of your latest album, Spiritual Genocide, and to commemorate over 30 years of Destruction as a metal band. I know the Christian guys had joined you guys on stage at the Rock in Rio Festival to perform a hell-raising cover of black metal. You guys had the chance to jam together yet on this current tour?
Not really, no, not yet. We're keeping those moments for maybe some special shows. You know, you cannot recreate the magic. Rock in Rio was like very special, and we said on this tour, once everything runs smooth, we're gonna jam out here and there. But so far, there was no time. But it's gonna happen for sure.
So Destruction is performed at just about every metal festival I can think of. Speaking of Rock in Rio, tell me what it was like for you guys to perform at last year's festival for the first time on an all-star metal billing that also featured headliners like Iron Maiden, Metallica, Sepultura. What was that like for you guys?
I mean, you know, we're used to big festivals. We play them all the time. But it's always a privilege, and it's great to play with those big names. And of course, there's a lot of people like Rock in Rio with like 80,000 or something for our performance. So, but Rock in Rio also has a special thing because it's like it's a national event in Brazil, and the whole country, and it's a huge country. You know, like Brazil has as many people as America, like 200, 300 million, something like this, and it's on national TV. You know, imagine like a metal show in America being on TV. Like you have like a metal fest, and it would be on national TV, on Fox Channel or something. You know, it's a big event. You know, so that was very special for me to play a festival that is on national TV. Everywhere you go, people are like freaking out. Like airports, the captain from the plane comes to me like, "Oh, my son loves you guys, Destruction." He gets an autograph. I'm like, what the fuck, you know?
How cool.
That's really cool. So that festival was very special for being a huge event in the country. You know?
Yeah.
So that was something, those vibes were there. And of course there's a certain tension. Like I'm playing shows like since I'm 17, so I'm not nervous anymore. But before a show like this, of course, you know, like the broadcast goes all over the country, all over South America. There's like, I don't know how many million are watching, also live on TV. It's very special.
You feel like the anxiety maybe?
I don't feel anxiety, but it's a thrill, you know. Yeah.
That made it more over the top for you.
Yeah, it's an event you remember for sure. You know?
And you guys had like fans waiting for you at the airport, right?
Yeah, at the airport. That happens very often in South America. That in the Latin countries, people support you at the airport. Somehow they find out from the promoter when the band arrives, and in some countries when you play there the first time, there's like hundreds, you know, and that's pretty freaky. It's like, we're not the Beatles, but it's still cool.
We know you guys like archive most of your live footage like on the Metal Discharge DVD. Did you capture any of the Rock in Rio footage, or?
Actually, that footage is like officially made by the TV there, so I'm sure we could buy it if you should need it for next DVD, you know.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean,
it's probably on YouTube.
Yeah, it's love. I mean, this TV channel has a YouTube channel, so if you want to check out Rock in Rio, there's a lot of songs of Rock in Rio on YouTube in really high definition quality.
So let's talk about another awesome festival appearance you guys had recently. You guys played last year's Beast of All Festival, where the big four of Teutonic Thrash, Destruction, Creators, Sodom, and Tankard all finally performed in the same billing. Has there been any communication with the other three bands since the Beast of All Festival about potentially taking the big four of Teutonic Thrash on the road for an extensive tour, or
yes,
what's that?
Yes, we had, but ask Miller from Creator why he doesn't want to do it.
Let's talk about that Beast of All Festival. What was that like?
It was great. You know, it was the first time in a long time we all played together. It was a lot of people. It was it was a little bit too early in the year. It was open air, so it was pissing cats and dogs through the whole show, which was a little sad, but the crowd was amazing. It was like 6,000-7,000 people, so it was a big event, and it was magical. I mean, you know, we've been talking about continuing this, and no, it doesn't happen. It's kind of sad.
What was the vibe like backstage between all the bands?
I don't know. We were all hanging out, having beers, and Miller came very late, so we didn't have much time to talk to him. So.
Oh, bummer. So I remember a few years back when you guys did Alliance of Hellhounds and how over the top that track was to feature so many heavyweight metal performers all on the same song. On your Spiritual Genocide album, you had a number of special guest appearances from former band members like Harry Wilkins and Oliver Kaiser, all the way down to Old Drake from Evil, Jerry from Tankard, and Tom Angel Ripper from Sodom. How much planning did it take in advance to pull off the overall concept for your 30th anniversary record? And it seems like Spiritual Genocide must have just been a massive, massive undertaking. How much planning in advance did you have?
I like to be spontaneous, like for the Alliance of Hellhounds back in the day, we needed to plan because all the singers are so tight on the schedule, they're all very busy, so that took time. But all the other stuff is very spontaneous, that I usually, when I write the songs, I call the people and say, hey, are you up for it? Or sometimes we were spontaneous in the studio and we could just call somebody like, hey, we just have this idea and we see you playing that song, the solo, or so we did that with Owl, we did that with Angel Ripper and Garrett for the song. So I'm not somebody that plans 100% everything. It needs to be spontaneous. And music just works in a moment, in a magic moment. You just have an idea and then you call up somebody. Like Gary Holt did that also, like Jeff Waters. Everybody was very spontaneous on that. I like that fact that most of the musicians that are considered friends and are influencers also, they're quite spontaneous. They get a call and say, hey, I have time. I can do it next week if you want. And then that's amazing. That's what I love about the job.
And Destruction's been really consistent in that almost every 1 to 2 years fans can expect a new album to come out.
There was big complaints that we do too many albums, so we take our time for the next one.
I love it. Every time I go to the record store.
We usually take 2 years. 2 years and a half, that's what we usually do.
Yeah.
But now we've been very busy the last 2 years, so the new one's going to come 2015, I think in early, like March, April, or something like this.
I mean, whatever you guys are doing, every time it's the holidays and I stop by the record store for my annual haul, I'm like, I gotta get that new Destruction. Cheers. Yeah. So, Spiritual Genocide, what was it? November 2012, released Europe, February in the US.
Yeah, that sucks too. Like why can't we release in the same time all over the world? But it's not up to the band, I wish we could release in the same time, but the label's, policy is different, so.
So I imagine, like, in the meantime, you and Mike probably got some new tunes you're working on.
Yeah, we already wrote some new stuff, and one song gonna come out in 1 or 2 months on some anniversary sampler for some tattoo convention. It's also gonna be released on vinyl as a split vinyl with Tankard, and since then we're working on new songs that I think we're gonna enter the studio end of the year, like September, October.
Wow.
So the album is expected for 15, I think. If it comes late in spring, but I wish we could do it in April, March already, like release. And hopefully this time tighter with the States also, like not 2 or 3 months. The problem was like last year, it was end of the year and then Christmas time doesn't allow us to release an album in America.
Yeah.
Because it's too busy. So the label wants time in between Christmas and the release date. So that's why we had to push back for February, which were like 4 months in between European and American release, which was kind of sad. But we also did this remaster of Metal Discharge.
Yeah.
It was like a very exclusive American 4 or 5 songs extra release. So I think it was value for money.
And you got another exciting side project going on now with Herman and...
We tried to keep it secret, but I fucked up.
It's everywhere, man.
I talked somewhere in some interview for about it in a second, and then the guy squeezed out some news, and now it's everywhere.
So let's talk about that. You guys got...
Oh, you're the next already.
Yeah, I'm the next.
We're recording demos after this tour. I'll go right to the studio with the Accept guys, and we're going to record 6 songs. And it's going to be the first part of the album, and I'm going to go on tour again, and the rest is going to be recorded in summer. And it's like ass-kicking heavy metal in between, like Priest, Accept, Wasp. Of course, some thrash will be in there from my...
Yeah.
So it's like it's going to be very heavy, but it's going to be melodic, more melodic than what I usually do. So it's a nice mix, but it's going to be no cheesy shit. It's going to be fucking metal. So
maybe along the lines of that Saxon cover you guys did.
Yeah, it's going to be classic heavy metal, like in the 80s way, with a little spiced up thrash here and there, but like Herman and Stefan, they're old friends, and they're in the scene even as long as me, or even the guitar player Herman. He's been with Accept since almost day one, so he's even older. He's like my older brother, you know. So as I can learn from him some stuff, but I also kick his ass with my influences. So we're kind of having a good songwriting team together, and it works really well.
Is there a band name yet?
We're still working on the band name, because the band name has to kick ass. So we're waiting a little bit to not we go on something that is like fitting well for the style and what we are. So we didn't like just do like a too fast decision on that.
And so, as busy as you are with Destruction, do you like foresee like an album tour cycle in the works with that side project?
I don't think so. Like we wanted the album first and see, you know, if the album turns out great, we're gonna have some chances to do some festivals, and then we're gonna build up on that. You know, like, you know, Accept and Destruction are both very busy bands. So we try to keep this as a side project, as having fun with it. If we can build it up in the future, and it's gonna work, if we're good enough to make an album that people like, then we will see. You know, everything's possible. But right now, we're both very busy with what we do. But I think for next year, festival season, we should be able to play some festivals, I'm sure.
Awesome. So are you guys splitting the songwriting duties 50-50, or are you taking the reins on that?
It's, you know, we're writing some stuff together, some stuff I'll write alone, some stuff Herman writes alone, and we're trying to keep it, you know, as a band feeling, trying to write together. And it feels good, so it's going to be a good mix, you know. It's going to be definitely a good mix, and yeah, it feels like, you know, it's great to have no pressure, because this is just fun, you know. See all the other guys, it's just we're sitting together and having fun. We're playing what we love, and it's kind of it's relief, you know. It's like there's no expectations for me, because I don't have to do this and that. I just can do what I love, heavy metal. So I think it's gonna turn out. The Christian guys here on the bus heard the first demos, very rough demos. They loved it. They were like, man, it's so good. Yeah, because it's like honest, true, to the bone fucking metal. And yeah, and not so many bands are playing this anymore, so it's gonna be fun to see the reactions.
So we were speaking earlier about Rock in Rio, and of course, I know that's got to be a career highlight for you. The three of you turned out tonight. You know, you're celebrating 30 years of Destruction. All your fans turned out tonight. It's really stoked that you've been a band 30 years. What are some other career highlights you'd name off the top of your head?
And highlights are, there's so many of those. You know, it's hard to say which one was the highlight of the band's career. Or Rock in Rio was definitely a highlight in the last year. But we loved those festivals before. We played in Colombia, Rogal Parque, 100,000 people. Us headlining, you know. So that was like amazing, and of course we played Wacken Festival many times. There's a lot of highlights, so I wouldn't say the highlight is this or that. It's always new stuff coming up, and I think we're up for the challenge. You know, we're a band that doesn't look back. We have a great history, but we also want to look up front. We're looking for new challenges. This band now, like this lineup, works so good. And that I'm looking for next year's, and you will see tonight. We're gonna kick some serious ass. We might be an old band on paper, but when we're on stage, we're ripping it. So I think that's a proof for 30 years to be still here and being so stronger than ever. I think I think it's maybe the best lineup we ever had, and if people will come to the shows, we can prove it.
Well, Schmier, I know you're a busy guy. Of course, everyone here tonight wants a minute of your time, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. Any last words for your fans watching at home?
Yeah, thanks a lot for coming out. Tour so far so good. I know it's been, you know, some people were like, wow, you're not going to come back to the States, and we're like, we never said that. I said it's maybe going to be difficult to coming back to the States. We were pissed off about the situation. So I'm very glad fans are supporting us, and yeah, we have 3 weeks more to go, so looking forward for all the next cities, and cheers, metal.